Hi there, guys. God's richest blessings on you and yours. Hoping that you've been able to see read all about it. You can read all about it and extra read all about it. Posts in the morning, 30 of those bad boys for you just to start you off with your day. Today, guys, our live is going to be looking at an article coming out from the People's Voice. This one is titled Canada Rolls Out Mandatory Digital ID for Welfare Recipients. Going to be looking. Yes, we're really seeing a drive. 17 countries literally have been rolling out digital ID over the last sort of like 3 months. It is literally a coordinated attack on the populace, literally forcing people into this tyranny dead end. And so, as usual, guys, what we do after our live as well is that there will be quite a few sort of like supplementary posts and memes just to sort of like reinforce what it is that we've been speaking in and about. If you're a visual learner, or if that's something that you prefer, just having a little flip through and having a read, as opposed to maybe having fellowship here or sitting through an hour's worth of jibber jabber, you can have that. But as per most of our lives, guys, what we do, I do a little bit of research in and around this, creating things and a few things just to refresh our minds as to what's happening over in Canada. It's really important, guys, that we are also praying for our brothers and our sisters in the nations that we end up reporting and sort of like looking at. Our thoughts go out to Canada at this particular time. So going to be looking at quite a bit of information around a refresh in terms of the tyrannies over in Canada. And then we're going to look at the digital ID and the push that's been happening globally, with some other things relating to, more specifically, Mark Carney, as well as the article in question. So I just want to bring us to a little bit of a refresh when it comes to Canada. Today's article, guys, God bless you. Thank you for being here with us. Canada rolls out mandatory digital ID for welfare recipients. We're going to look at this today. Canada has announced plans to roll out mandatory, there goes your choice, digital IDs for all welfare recipients in the country, including seniors on old age security, Canada's Department of Employment said in a recent note. Interesting, isn't it? It all starts out as voluntary. Here you go. You can have this if you like. Next minute, just like over here in the UK, we were told, oh, it's for the immigrants. No, it's not. It was now then for if you wanted a new job, or if you wanted a new sort of like rental apartment or place or house or something of that sort. And then all of a sudden it was a case of, now we're going to give that to young people. Now you can have all of your banking in on that. It's only a matter of time as well until over here in the UK that they make this mandatory when it comes to all government access, which would literally be everybody in the country. If you're paying your council tax, you have to go onto the sort of like government websites or phone up those particular organizations and local councils. It's only a matter of time until you're having to use that. If you're a family, you receive family child tax credits. If you're a pensioner and you have that. If you are on benefits at the moment, everything's all titled over here universal sort of like credits, all getting ready for this universal basic income that will be coming out as well. And you'd need the digital ID for that. If you were on sickness benefit or pay, you'd also receive that. So it's a very aggressive push from the sort of like globalists, and we're going to be covering some of that here. Canada's Supreme Court rules jail sentences for pedophiles are unconstitutional. Well, coming from Canada, and Mark Carney and his sort of like brown nosing Maxwell, Griswell, whatever her name is, and the like, real dodgy Canadians here. Canada's 1.2 trillion depopulation plan exposed. Government plot to euthanize 14.7 million citizens have been uncovered. According to a recent publication in the Journal of Death and Dying, Health Canada has unveiled a plan for saving that is brutal as it is unprecedented. We've been speaking now about euthanasia bills over here in the UK. Kim Ledbetter has the euthanasia bill over in America and over in Canada. pond, you have the MAID, which is the medical assistance in dying. We are seeing this depopulation, 1.2 trillion for depopulation plan exposed. There is also other things coming out from Canada as well, giving 1 trillion for this climate lie. Also, Trudeau imported 36.5 of Canada's population under WEF replacement agenda. Official Canadian statistics confirm what critics have long warned. During his tenure, the equivalent of 36.5% of population through open borders and mass immigration policies. Going to be saying this right now from the outset, guys. It is only a matter of time until Trump actually takes out Canada and has her as the 51st state. Already rumorings in and around that when it comes to tariffs and trade deals as well. You've got Mark Carney playing a little bit hard to get, just so that it's not too obvious a takeover. And then once that's literally been had, then Trump can have Greenland as well, steal that off Denmark, and then you've got the first sort of like Club of Rome's kingdom as per recorded in the book of Daniel. The UK are next when it comes to rejoining of Brexit. So we're seeing this open door policy, are we not? The flooding of immigration as well, literally a great way to remove its national identity, almost like something out of a Braveheart movie, sort of like not carpe diem, but what do they call it? Prima nocte, breeding everybody out, the first rites to the sort of like marriage night, in a way of really sort of like turning the table. Here, Canada's eco false flag exposed, glyphosate sprayed on forests to set, ignite and engineer mega fires. First, the Canadian government locked citizens out of the woods under the guise of wildfire prevention during the so-called climate crisis. Now, leaked documents reveal they've been spraying Bayer's Vision Max glyphosate across thousands of acres of Canadian forests. This is a part of it, the sabotage, the black swan, the false flag, the inside job, the 9/11 styly guys that we're going to be literally seeing that will push these things into touch. I'm suspecting that they'll save some of this, or the large part of it, for the central bank digital currency. And this is what we're seeing as well, this sort of like weaponizing of the weather. If you don't do as we say, then we will flood you out. We'll use direct energy weapons against you, or like in Maui and in the case of LA, we'll just burn you out as well. Augustus and Peter Thiel, Rainmaker, and Bill Gates's weather manipulation programs stepping into play. So watch out here. Canada begins euthanizing child rape victims while the pedophiles themselves walk free. King Charles arrived in Canada to support the country against Trump. This is all the big sort of like show and tell. We'll pretend that we're there to make sure that Trump doesn't take out. That's the lie. But the real push is a case of why you need to get everyone on IDs, you need to get everyone on CBDCs, just like they're doing over in Australia, and you need to be making sure that you're turning the screw when it comes to tyranny and this climate lie. That's the narrative in that particular sense. Here, Canada to begin euthanizing citizens deemed mentally ill, including conspiracy theory, in 2 years' time, 2027. Canada's Medical Assistance in Dying MAID program is set to end in 2027 to include individuals whose sole underlying condition is mental illness. This is the guys that want to call, like, bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter, truth from lie, good, evil, evil, good. It's like, sort of, do we really trust these guys to be able to make a medical and psychological diagnosis? Crikey, they'd be sort of like, signing everybody off, wouldn't they? And disturbingly, the Canadian state has adopted an increasingly broad and subjective definition of what defines mental illness. And so those that are conspiracy theorists, just like they did over in Nazi Germany, it was a case of if you're politically and undesirable, then we'll put you in a re-education camp, a labor camp, and some sort of quarantine camp. In that way, we'll sterilize you, we'll offer you euthanasia, we'll have this papers please society, and if you fail all of that, then we'll just stick you to the, you know, the gas chambers. Guys, this is where we're heading. All right, this is where we are heading. On my prayer walk this morning, I was just like, Lord, you know, I'm not giving up. Just let that be known. But it's like, really, can we stop this beast system? Really, can we? And I was having a bit of a pop yesterday about some things, and I was being really open and really transparent with you guys, because I am seeing the church at the moment literally bending over, bowing down and puckering up to this rising beast system. It's not standing up and saying, no, we don't want this. We don't stand for this. It's not. It's rolling over. What a pitiful example that leaves for the tribulation saints, when these guys are going to get to the end of all of this, where this is all heading. Okay, when it comes to them having to lay their lives down, choosing, will you bow down to the beast, or will you take his mark, or are you prepared to die for your faith? Well, if people aren't prepared to even stand up at the moment, how are they supposed to die for their faith? Really telling how easy it is to just bow down to this beast, something that we will never do here on our channel. Canada promotes euthanasia for kids with mental health issues without parental consent. And you think, oh, that's just a bit of a reach. No, it does happen, guys. Look at what they do when you have your child at school, how they coerce them, how they manipulate them, how they lie in the curriculum. Oh yeah, we all came from monkeys. Oh yeah, the Big Bang theory. Oh yeah, there's 72 genders. Oh, it's okay to sexualize and confuse your gender and your identity at such a young age. If you want to come out, you come out. That's fine. We'll open up the whole space for the alphabet people, and you don't have to tell your parents. That's all fine. You can change your names, you can change your genders, and you can surgically cut bits off if you want. Literally against people's sort of like consent. Look what they did the other day with this poor, you know, woman over here in the UK who had her baby being vaccinated against her wishes. It's because the judge was so tentative, and I would have loved to have found this, like, you know, in the news a month before. He was just like, yeah, but there's no real evidence that these vaccines cause injury or harm. I could have sunk that guy with evidence, with peer-reviewed, you know, case studies, science, even from the CDC, the FDA, the World Health Organization, and every sort of like research paper. I could have like literally come in with truckloads of that for that girl's defense, but she didn't have any of it. She didn't have any understanding other than a few little bits of information and knowledge, yeah, from whatever she got from social media, but she didn't have the concrete evidence. So it's really important, guys, that what we do as a channel here and as a ministry here is to give you so much information, so much that you can sort of like, you know, literally sort of like sink a ship with it, that you're not half cocked in those environments. So that if you're arrested, or if I was ever to be arrested, we'd be able to say, I'm sorry, here is the evidence. Exhibit A. But the horror of these, you know, sort of like WEF, young global graduates, young global shapers, etc., all right, that literally end up infiltrating all of these governments. And Canada was the one that was boasted the most about from Klaus Schwab when it came to infiltration. They followed Davos's agenda, depopulation agenda, offering and marketing death to young people. Could you imagine the inconceivable heartbreak of a parent, you know, waiting outside the schools for their child, and their school has actually taken them off for gender altering surgery or to go in some death pod? Pilot testifies Bill Gates spraying chemtrails in Canada causing mass psychosis and suicide. We've been speaking out against this, haven't we? Even, you know, Tucker Carlson, controlled opposition guy, starting to come out with some of these, you know, products as well. We spoke about that today in our post. Yeah, Canada's Prime Minister vows to provide sterilizing puberty blockers to children. Yeah, this is the guy who's had one of his own kids literally be carved up. Brought him over to the UK to have it done. Absolute monstrosity. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney has vowed to continue pushing puberty blockers and gender transition procedures without exception, including for children. This is just child abuse. Where's the courts of law? Where are those Nurembergs? Where is it? This is what I was saying in my prayer walk. It's like, Lord, these guys, I can scream about digital ID. I can scream about the, passports, the CBDC, the social credit score system, the digital public infrastructure, and this being the external version of the mark of the beast. I can scream until I'm blue in the face, but people are going to go for it. People rolled up their sleeves. When we were speaking out again, 5.65 billion people were stupid enough to do it. How much of what it is that we are exposing is really going to be stopping this tide, this beast system rising? Are we just sort of like, fighting a lost cause over here, Lord? Or actually, I'm hoping and I'm praying that people get into some of this, that they turn around and think, you know what, I don't want to be any part of that. I don't agree with this policy. I don't agree with this practice. And, sort of like have some element of, abstination from this earth and what it tries to force feed you. You imagine that? Sterilizing puberty blockers. Bill Gates also coming up with his sort of like contraception pills and etc. that can be turned on and off remotely. Good grief. You wait until he puts his sync on with Jeff Bezos and that sort of like, injectable brain chips that I hope you've been seeing in our posts that he's also got, which ended up in the vaccines that connect us all to the Internet of Bodies and the Internet of Things so that they can really know what's going on under your skin. Here you go. Prime Minister Mark Carney says Canada is ready to lead the world. Please. Trucker protest leader sentenced to 3 months house arrest for protesting COVID restrictions in Canada. You imagine this? Unelected globalist banker with Jeffrey Epstein links appointed Canada's prime minister. How perverse and dark he also is. Just some headlines there coming out from that. We've been speaking about where this is all heading, Canadians. I've got family in Canada. I love the nation here. Trump proposes Canada becomes the 51st US state following Trudeau's resignation. It's going to be happening, guys. Telling you, Canada will become America's 51st state with Greenland, the very first kingdom of the Club of Rome. Go and see the map for yourself and turn to the prophet Daniel for that there. Really interesting, guys, that we speak up and in and around this. Okay, I want to continue with, if I may, before I check in with you guys, give myself a little bit of a breather, speaking out against this tyranny. Here's some things I prepared earlier. Here you go. That's not it. That's just a picture of me. I don't want to see that, dude. Go away. Here. Evil is real. It's not a supernatural thing. It just refers to the absence of morality. And Canada recognizing Palestine as a direct result of a genocidal civilian massacre is evil. One of the most transparently evil things that the Canadians have ever done. The UK did the same thing as well as France. Unbelievable. This is the evil that Mark Carney and the Liberal Party of the Canada recognize. Coming from the Hamas official, Ghazi Hamad, this is what he said. We will repeat the October 7th attack time and time again until Israel is annihilated. And this is what you do, is it? You negotiate with terrorists for a start. What's that about? And then you want to reward their terrorism with their own state, just like Starmer has done over here in the UK. 9 out of 10 Brits do not want a Palestinian state or any recognition. But these guys are just coming out with it and doing it what they can, because when you get the new WEF leader in the form of Larry Fink turning around and saying, now we're going to the enforcement phase of our agenda, and opposition or any defiance to our agenda will end up in death. Do you see now when also Klaus Schwab turns around and says, we've got too much of a momentum and the blade is too sharp for us to be. Mark Carney is a World Economic Forum globalist, post-national state, lunatic, net zero, and the designer of Canada's rapid descent into poverty and irrelevance. Mark Carney, is an architect of an agenda that is relentless steamroller of evil, crushing the world, destroying a once free and prosperous society, and instead installing an endless iron curtain of oppression and degradation. Just a reminder that Mark Carney has still not explained what he and his wife were doing with convicted child sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell in this photo of his sister-in-law's estate. Mark of the Beast Carney didn't leave his coffin in Europe and come to the Labour colony to help the people. He is here to transform our once prosperous country into some shade of communist shithole. Sorry, I can't come out of a different word other than saying that what it is. Okay, Canada recognizes the state of Palestine and offers our partnership in building the promise of a peaceful future for both the state of Palestine and the state of Israel. Absolute nonsense. You think these two-state solutions work? Tell that to India. Tell that to Pakistan. Tell that to North Korea. Tell that to South Korea. Tell that to Germany, East and West. Does not work. Never has, never will. But the monstrosity of that, Carney and his liberals quietly awarded Pfizer, Moderna new COVID shot contracts. Quietly did it. Didn't do it publicly, just like you got, Trump doing with Pfizer and rewarding Albert Bourla, or what we've got over here in the UK with Johnson & Johnson. These pharmaceutical companies must literally be, burned down to the ground, surely from their own government, saying, you're trying to kill people. You're trying to sterilize them, give them supercharged cancers. Yeah, you're trying to also set them up to the internet of bodies with the self-assembly nanotechnology. This is what you are doing with these vaccines, supercharged cancers, sudden adult deaths. All right. Why are we tolerating all of this? There's no justice for these guys. This is why I really do feel Holy Father has given us such kindness in saying, these are the things that are coming your way, guys. What are you going to be doing when it comes for you? It is like bad boys. What you're going to do, what you're going to do when they come for you. It is exactly like that. What are you going to do when they impose digital IDs, impose digital passports, CBDCs, social credit score system? Look at how, forgive me for saying it, but look at how the wall bends over for the beast system and the community rules and the community guidelines. This is the beast system. Should we be in any way compliant with that? What I just said 10 seconds ago about the vaccine could get our channel taken down. Do you think I care? Do you think I care? We'll just start again. I know that I heard, most recently, a brother of ours, I'll give him some, some respect in that sense for having his channel taken down for no reason whatsoever. Ty Green, wasn't it? For no reason whatsoever had his channel taken down. He hasn't come out of anything outlandish like we come out with. But this is the assault on Christians, isn't it? So much so that over here in the UK, you can't have, John 3:16 on the back of your car without being arrested. You can't preach. You can't pray in public. Let alone wear a patriotic sort of like flag to show that you love your country. Everyone knows that these shots have a potential to leave Canadians weakened, disabled, or playing roulette with death. Many countries have banned this shot, but not Mark Carney. What is the motive? Corruption, money laundering, or just pure evil? So I'm hoping that people will think, well, okay, what's this guy talking about, vaccines and stuff? Please go over to our Rumble channel and see what's in the vaccines. Wait, what? What's in the vaccines? And go and see for yourself. All of these whistleblowers. Go and see yourself when it comes to the chemtrails and all of the aluminiums and the bariums and all of the other carcinogenics that have been put in there against that. Please see our videos pertaining to the fluoridation and the water and the stupefying of people and the mRNAs that's in the food and the dental floss and everything else that's being aerovaxed overhead as well. Please see these things. Please see our posts, guys, on the developments of this, sort of like up and coming Mark of the Beast, Mark Carney, and Western separation. No greater evil has ever threatened Canada. The Grim Reaper is here to claim a nation. He cloaks himself in the flag, Mark Carney, and words of sovereignty, yet he represents the very darkness that has been eroding Canada for decades. Mark Carney isn't just a failed politician, he's a walking catastrophe, the slimy incarnation of the Davos parasite, a globalist puppet installed to bleed dry the once great nation of Canada like a colonial bloodsucker. He views our homeland, or the homeland of Canada, not as a beacon of freedom and family, but as a disposal entry in the World Economic Forum's dystopian ledger. His slithering back into Canada wasn't a triumphant return. It was a calculated coup d'etat by the elite to accelerate Canadian destruction. But we're ripping the veil off this fraud, exposing his trail of scandals, lies, and betrayals that prove he's not just incompetent, he's the enemy of the West, a moral bankrupt who sold out our sovereignty for personal gain. Prepared to be shocked from hiding 574 conflicts of interest to defending kidnapping threats, Carney's dirt runs deeper than you imagined. And the reckoning starts now. To read that on behalf of my Canadian brothers and sisters, and I'm going to be carrying on with some of this as well. Would also like to say, guys, please do go over to our Rumble channel and see our most latest video on what it did to our lives yesterday when it was stealing our views. All right, it's bad enough, guys, that we have to fend off AI, algorithms, shadow banning, blacklisting, having human interference on keyboard warriors oppose us, and now they're stealing our lives. Then they want to cut out half of that, and then they just want to literally delete it at their heart's content. This is what we're literally up against. And it's really interesting, isn't it? It's like those that work for the beast system, these guys got any idea that the wrath of God remains upon them because they have not called on the name of the Lord to be sins before him, that they haven't gone from in him, and that if they were to die today, they would be for hell, or in hell and eternal separation from God. They want to serve the father of lies. They want to serve those who kill, seek, and destroy absolutely everything. And we represent Jesus Christ here. Pitifully, I know, as my example, who is the way, the truth, and the life. Unbelievable what we are up against. These guys that want to operate in the shadows and want to undermine Christian channels. There's going to be a day when you regret removing the watchman. Continuing with this, God bless you, my brothers and sisters. Mark Carney's tenure at the Bank of England saw significant efforts to integrate WEF-aligned initiatives, particularly in climate finance, inclusive capitalism, and fintech regulations. He is a globalist commie through and through, a very evil man. Mark Carney, suspected of plotting to destroy Canada with universal basic income, central bank digital currencies, digital IDs, and the collapse of the Canadian economy. Mark Carney supported using the Emergency Act against peaceful protesters during the Freedom Convoy, violating the right to peaceful protest, but Carney refuses to use the notwithstanding clause to bring back mandatory minimums for child porn because he doesn't want to violate the rights of pedophiles. These guys really do want to come out and normalize their pedophilia and their sinister, dark perversions and appetites. Coming from Mark Carney and his liberal playbook. Number one, well, there you go. You can see the end of free speech. Number two, release violent offenders. Crikey, it sounds like we're reading out Great Britain here now, isn't it? Number three, introduce poisoned bills. There's your C's, whatever. Number four, spend money that the Canadians don't have. 5, blame conservatives. 6, just give our money away. There you go. Have $1 trillion for the climate lie. Awesome. Number 7, break the law. Yes, we'll just break the law and we'll just create new policies so that we can make our laws legal. Number 8, allow drug use. Number 9, mass immigration. And number 10, DEI hire versus skill hire. So this is what they've been able to accomplish over in Canada. Worst housing affordability ever, skyrocketing national debt, rampant inflation, homelessness in tent cities, violent crime rates are soaring, opioid deaths on the rise, healthcare systems broken down, bank accounts freezes during protest, ethics scandals, censorship of its citizens, food bank use at record highs, excessive government spending, 25-year high interest rates, and reckless immigration policy. And this is exactly what Trump did with SNAP for my American cousins as well, wasn't it? And then now all of a sudden, here you go, have £2,000, you know what I mean, the universal basic income, so that we can literally control you with the social credit score systems. There are no other words to describe Mark Carney other than the fact that he is evil. You see him flipping off with his hands, Satan horns on his election night. $1 trillion for climate change while Canadians are starving to death. Really? Carney calls citizens morally rotten in his book and wants personal control over the citizens. That doesn't sound like a leader. Sounds like a dictator to me. Mark Carney, I present to you the worst of the worst option for the future of Canadian politics. WEF globalist, climate scam leader, and central bankster Mark Carney, be warned. The whole world now hates Mark Carney, the ostrich murdering sadist. Canada will become the 51st state, I'm telling you right now. Digital ID is coming to Canada. It will soon be mandatory to collect welfare and unemployment benefits, but we all know it won't stop there. Convenience is the bait, control is the catch. And while you're being distracted, Air Canada has sneaked in digital ID for domestic flights. Refuse to download the app, print your tickets, show your passport or your driver license only. Turn around Canada's airport petition digital IDs for domestic travellers. Never forget the draconian measures used against peaceful Canadians, violated the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. The Trudeau government allows you to speak only if it's not against them. And do you remember when, you know, Trudeau was like turning around, you know, and just saying, we know that we're taking away all of your rights and all of your freedoms, but we're going to do it anyway. And here it is, just a month ago, the first reading. Canadian bill would strip internet access from specific persons. Not too long ago, Liberals were defending the internet access as akin to a human right. Now it's all being taken away. Let's talk to you about an individual called Mark Miller. If this Canadian Liberal MP gets the chance, he's coming for your Bibles. Liberal Minister Mark Miller suggests prosecuting people for preaching Bible verses he finds hateful. Yeah, wow. That's just awesome, isn't it? And this is coming from the guy who wants to recognize a Palestinian state and arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he ever steps down in Canada. How many times, guys, do I have to tell you, Revelation 17:13, that they are all in it together? They're all on it, all of one mind, all of one purpose, to give their power to the beast. It's like the UK, Canada is slowly sinking to this globalist cabal. Mark Carney was installed just like the evil witch Ursula von der Leyen in Europe. They're following the 2030 agenda with the implemented CBDCs and the soon and upcoming mark of the beast. Absolutely horrifying, isn't it? Okay, there's some pictures and imagery that I'd love to be bringing out to you. But in a moment, guys, we're going to be looking at just a refresh before we get into today's article, which is Canada rolls out mandatory digital ID for welfare recipients. We're going to be looking at some of the other news going around the world relating to digital ID. But I would like to check in with you guys and see where we're at. God bless you guys. Thank you for being here. Hi, Sherry. Thank you for everything that you do. God bless you, my dear sister. Love you. Hi, Kevin. Blessings to you. Hi, Alison. Blessings to you and your hubby. Hi, Chris Reactions. Yeah, they are absolutely right. They are doing this in the UK as well. It's following in suit, isn't it? It's like really, really interesting. You know, they sort of like kick off Britain kicks off when it comes to protesting against the digital IDs. And then all of a sudden they've got deliberately a few Antifas or a few sort of like undercover cops. All right. Yeah. And they kick off and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, it's all getting out of hand. Oh dear, you burned down a dustbin. Now we're going to restrict your right to protest. All right, they are all of it together. Revelation 17:13, to give their power unto the beast. And they're all in on this together. When they are infiltrated, every single government has been infiltrated. That ought to have set off a security alert. But no, in our government over here in the United Kingdom, we have Fabian communists that are in power. They want to literally, you know, replace the church for the state. They want to bow down and worship Karl Marx and Stalin. See those guys as gods. Absolutely, it's happening over here, exactly from the same playbook. They're all in it together. They're going meeting up and having this little chat. The beast system gives it all a staggered deployment so that it's not too obvious. But telling you what, really, you got 17 nations that are adopting the digital ID. Well, I had 5 people turn up at my door the other day asking to evaluate me because I'm spreading the word. They hate it. You go, man. Seriously. Now they are blocking all my communications online on Instagram. This is what's happening, guys. We've been saying it seriously. The opposition that we are up against. And it's like, what is it that we are doing? Am I inciting violence? No, I'm not. I'm not even inciting you to protest. I'm not doing anything. I'm giving you information. That's what they fear and dread the most. And I also love Jesus with all my heart, soul, and strength. And I worship him. And it's my joy to serve his people and to serve him, however pitifully I may do so. What a joy. And this is what they want to silence. You wait. I mean, do these guys really think? Can we just have this conversation for a moment? Do you really think that those behind the scene, that Satan is going to be playing nice when it is his time, when it is his hour? Do you really think so? It's like that movie, isn't it, with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Gabrielle Bryn, and, you know, The End of Days. And it's like all of a sudden you got all of these guys, you know, thinking like, oh, yeah, you know, worshiping him down. And he turns badass. It's not going to be, you know, fulfilling any of his promises because he's a liar. He's the father of lies. And those that literally serve him can share and follow his fates. It's awful. And they're trying to silence all of this. For what? Under like they've got over here in the UK, the online safety bill. Absolute nonsense. Also in Denmark, now banning social media for teens. It's all to control the narrative because this is damage control. They've lost the argument. They're desperately trying to sort of backpedal and earn everybody's trust before they throw everybody under the bus for the next round of horrors. But you know, Chris, you stand your ground, mate. You stand your ground. Doesn't matter how many channels they take, how many times they give you a strike. This is our 7th channel, and we're probably on at least over a dozen. Over the last 8 years of doing this, we refuse to amend what it is that we say. When the apostles were taken into court and beaten and whipped and jailed, their reply was, is it better for us to obey you or to obey God? We here on this channel are an Ezekiel 33 watchmen, but we are more so just because of how things roll with the content in which we produce. We are Ezekiel 2. Speak, whether they listen or whether they don't listen. That's not the point. What Jesus asks us to do is to be consistent and persistent and just simply report on what it is that we are shown, not to have editorial control, not to try and hoard our little harvest of things, but to be faithful and to speak up. We have an honor and a privilege to model to the tribulation saints, our brothers, our sisters, our family, our friends, how it is that we stood out against this beast system as we saw it rising. Did we bow down and say, yes, sir, massa? Or did we say, heck no, we're going to expose you. We're going to shine our light on you. And we're not going to be yielding or submitting to your rules and your regulations. We will not turn around and say that that lifestyle or that is acceptable, because my Bible says otherwise. My Jesus says not to do that. But that's not his plan. That's not his best for you. And I'm going to go by his word. We are going to be getting to a point, brothers and sisters. I genuinely believe it, just because you guys know that I think we're going to be here for a bit longer, okay, where we are going to literally, like our brother Chris there, having a rat-a-tat-tat on our door. We're going to be having fines. We're going to be having first final warnings. We are going to be imprisoned, put into labor camps, re-education camps, quarantine camps, and maybe even be bordering upon death camps before we are out of here. When this entire world looks like China as the benchmark and the standard that all of these globalists are reaching for, then we will be out of here. In my opinion. Chris saying here, look, they literally turned up at my house thinking I would just agree. I told them where to go and they had to leave. Good for you. Same exactly. I've had to rehearse that in my head. What am I going to be doing? Well, each of our videos, if they came up with it, I'd be able to provide so much overwhelming evidence. I'd shut them right up. They would have to literally back the truck up, if you know what I'm saying, because they wouldn't be able to have a hand on that. What we produce here is beyond contestation in terms of what is prepared, what is discussed, and then what follows afterwards, let alone your knowledge base, your intellect, your understanding, your experience, and more importantly as well, what the Lord God's shown you also about the subject. So my advice would be, you get that knock on your door, you get your recording out. And you get your phone out and you start recording, making sure that you got police numbers on their Apple apps. And you start asking them, do you have an arrest warrant? Am I under arrest? Know Article 10 if you're here in the UK, and know your rights. Know the legalities, know what they can and what they can't do. If you're not under arrest, if you haven't broken any of the laws, you can bid them good day, goodbye. If they want to arrest you and take you down, then you can have legal representation, and then you can have the joygasm of suing them for wrongful arrest. They're absolutely overreaching, trying to intimidate. I had the same thing here. And I once mouthed off and I said to the police, come on then, I dare you. And then literally I went for my prayer walk, and in the shop, right, literally down the way was this armed police officer who was literally, no joke, I swear, following me around looking for a reason to arrest me. And he was behind me sniffing to see if I had, weed on me, or if I had alcohol on me, or anything that he could have to arrest me. And he had nothing. I had nothing on me. Okay, but it was just this show of force that they love to have. So when I went away to London to help my family move, my parents move, I came back, and on my prayer walk, my first prayer walk the next day, this literal huge Hercules transport plane literally sort of like goes right over, all right, and just literally so low, you could almost like, that loud, having a show of force. Yeah, we know you're back. We know what you're doing, and we're here. I've had it so many times with police trying to follow me with their drones and everything. These guys do not operate within the confines of the law. This is why I detest them so much, because they serve tyrants. The excuse stood before a holy God will not be, well, I'm sorry, Lord, this was me doing my job. That ain't going to float at all. These guys serve tyrants. They are using Palantir technology without court subpoenas, without arrest warrants. They are just literally turning on your devices without hearsay. God bless Edward Snowden is all I will say. But this is them, their overreach, how they want to brutalize the British people, how they want to stop you from praying, how they want to stop you from protesting, how they want to intimidate and bully you. And then they want to take off your views so that other people come along and say, oh, this guy hasn't got many views. There's no traction in any of this. I'll go to another one that's got tens and tens of thousands. And you'll be deprived of really valuable bits of information, in my opinion, that you need to hear. Because this is God's blessing to you to say, hey, think about this. Think about these things. Pray on these things. Ask yourself, as for you and your house, what are you going to do when they come for you? What are you going to do, Chris? Chris has shown us an example here right now. And I've given you some of my sort of like tidbits as well. Be kind, be gracious, be a light to them. But you gotta tell them to back up and be gone. I'd love these guys to be stupid enough to come after me to a certain extent. And I'll happily take them inside and out for a court of law. I would. Be knocking on my sister's door as a judge and would be having at it, man. Because they did her wrong and too. They are so corrupt. They are so corrupt. They're an insult to that. These guys should have the privilege of looking out after you. It is a joy as a watchman to bring you all of this stuff. I know it's not nice news. I know it's not going to perk you up in your day, but I love you so much. It's the heart that God's given me for you, is to take all of this aggro and all this at the end of the night when they're stealing views and they're silencing, they're doing all that they're doing. I don't care. I love the Lord that much. I can do whatever he says. But these guys have a responsibility to protect and to serve and to guard and to nourish and care for and keep safe and make people feel safe, make them feel that they're understood. That's why I engage with the audience, which not everybody does. And that's why I respond to your messages, because I care about what it is that you've got to say. I can't take on too much because I've got to manage my own mental health, doing this 6 days a week as the commitment that I made to the Lord and to you. But they are so corrupt. They serve tyrants. And if they have any morality, any humanity, they need to be doing their jobs. They need to be turning around and saying, what's all that poison in the sky? As a police officer, I'd like to know why that's over a school or why that's happening. I'd like to take some soil samples, please, farmer. Do you know what I mean? Can we have a conversation about the death jabs and people just dropping down, dying and dead? Can we have a conversation around that? Can we have a conversation about all of these, frequencies and 5Gs and all the weaponizing of all of that? Can you please disclose to us these 24 contracts from Peter Thiel's Palantir that's used to spy on us? Because how it's being used in Israel is that you're blowing up pages. You know what I mean? And you're using that as the Gotham for targeted assassinations, and you're using this technology against civilians. I'd like to know what that's about, please. Nectar program and NHS that the Palantir use this for. They're not doing their jobs. These guys want to make a name for themselves. Just go to any sort of like doctor's surgery and say, right, let's have a little look-see here on those that took the COVID vaccine. Where are they now? What's happening to them now? Have you seen a dramatic... Go and bloody investigate. Do what we do. But they don't. Credibility, gone. There's just nothing more but paramilitary. The beast systems, dogs. So next time they come up for you, Chris, you turn around to them and you say this there, bruv. Bringing me your master. I don't want his dog. That's the line that I'll be saying. I need to rehearse it a bit so I don't butcher it as much, but you got it. Bless you, mate. Respect for you for being brave. Yeah, absolutely. These people behind mental health are literally the ones behind gang stalking. They are twisted. They're sick in the head. They are really sick in the head. This is what's really interesting, isn't it? It's sort of like, diagnostic statistical manual health, it's kind of like book, the DSM-5 or whatever, relates all of these sort of sexual perversions and homosexualities. And it used to, at least the DSM-2 did, as a mental health, condition. Do you know what I mean? I'm not with the DSM-5. I'm with the DSM-2 personally. Sorry, you're a bloke. You cross-dressing does not convince me. And at what point on a psychological level is it ever been good for me to climb into you're crazy and affirm that? You do not do that with someone with mental health problems. They seriously need to put the crack pipe down, man. Hi, Chi-Chi. I'm sorry, where is this mandatory ID placed in your head or on a card? This is it. This is also the soft disclosure, isn't it? It's all getting everybody geared up for it. The biometrics. Have it, I went over to Texas last year, had to have my iris scan, my fingerprints, my facial rec, absolutely blimming everything. And I had the courage to go through the front door. It's awful. It's just it is mandatory. These IDs that are placed on you, they've already got a digital twin on you. Everything's already there in this supercomputer called the Beast that also has your DNA in it as well. It's on a card. It is like that. And so when Revelation 13:16 says he causes all, both great and small, free and slave, to receive a mark on his right hand or on his forehead, so that no man may buy or sell save he who has the mark of the beast. We went through, didn't we, the other day about the what was it, like the barcodes on this, whatever, and it's just like, you know, these numbers, where am I? These numbers here all correlate to destinations and what have you, and then you'll see at the bottom of all of this, you know, kind of like lines that come down. There's 3 at the end, bracketed at the end, and then 1 in the middle that underneath doesn't have any numbers. Those numbers correlate to 666. So when Jesus turns around and says, you're not going to be able to buy or sell unless you have one of those, my suspicion is it's going to be some form of a barcode chip, whatever, that can be read, scanned on your forehead, that kind of a thing. But this is where it's all going, the mandatory choice, the taking away of that choice. Just like my phone desperately wants to do to me. It says, oh, I'll have this update, install now or install later. How about not at all? I don't want it, because I know that you're going to put Trojan software on my devices, and then voila, next day when I'm trying to do all of these articles for you guys, I'm not able to find that resource, or it turns around to me and says, forbidden. You know what I mean? As if I sort of like stepped it into the Garden of Eden naked and said party time. Do you know what I mean? It's like, come on. Sorry, I don't know why that came out. It sounded better in my head, or at least appeared a bit better in my head. Thank you for putting our backup channel as well. Yeah, that's going to be needed at some point. Chris saying, well, I'm glad you guys are on here because you actually understand how the enemy can be. I was lucky just to catch the live when I checked YouTube. God bless you. Welcome to you guys. I know it's very early for some of my, you know, Canadian friends and you know, American cousins or whatever. I know it's early for you guys, but where am I at now? It's like 1:30. Yeah, it's 1:30 here. I'm burning daylight, really. But yeah, thank you for checking us in. It's us checking out that we really want, isn't it? You know, I mean, let's be honest about it. Yeah, we're glad to have you, mate. Hi, Joe. Good to see you. Bless you, buddy. Hi, Cher. Good to see you. Thank you for being here, guys. Hi, daughter Vishaka. Bless you. All right. Now we spoke about, guys. Okay, we spoke about a little bit about Mark Carney. We spoke about a few things relating to Canada and some of its tyrannies. Just want to bring us up to speed with this massive sort of like, you know, it's not by coincidence global rollout with the digital IDs. Here we go. We're going to be looking at in a moment Canada rolls out mandatory digital ID for welfare recipients. Here, Australia, we covered this, didn't we, a while ago, just became the world's first search prison. Citizens forced to upload digital ID to use Google. It's the same thing what they're doing over here with YouTube, other than stealing our views and being pathetic. All right, it's the same thing they were doing, because I got a strike. I can't now I can't pin a comment. I can't add any sort of like, you know, sort of like links into the videos in the lives. Can't do that to any of the posts, and I'm only allowed to put out 50 posts a day, which is what I do for you every day. 50 posts in a live, that can't be too shabby, but I'd be doubling that up if they come at me again. But I won't comply with the one-way, two-way verification. Submit a 6-second video. I will not yield. I will not bow. Fine, if I have to go without, or I have to lose something from it, that's fine. It's not a problem. I'm not going to yield to your demands. Who do you think you are? Continuing, Adolf Starmer. Citizens who reject digital ID must pay £85 every time they're asked to prove their identity. Do you know what I mean? 85 quid. Oh, it's voluntary. by the way, didn't you know? Hundreds of thousands of Brits protest UK government plans to introduce mandatory digital IDs. It's asking for permission when you're trying to do all of these sort of like petitions and you're marching through the streets as a real slave that you are, asking for permission for that. Please, can I have some existence and some rights? Absolutely pathetic. They ignored 3 million signatures. This isn't a democracy, it's a tyranny. Orwell would be impressed. Thousands marched through London to say no to digital ID. And what good did that do? She'd have a government that turns around and wants to listen to its people and said, okay, guys, these guys aren't happy or down with that. But they didn't listen. They didn't consult when it came to recognizing a Palestinian state. They didn't consult when it came to all this climate lie and this digital ID. No, what did they do with the digital ID? They used all of the heroes, you know, all of the older veterans from World War II and whatever, in order to do that under the Brit card sort of like, you know, patriotic nonsense, misusing all of that. They didn't ask people about any of this. They're just going ahead. So when you have Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves, okay, a year before Starmer was put in number 10, he turned around and said, we are here, me and Rachel Starmer, as a signal of intent that Britain will play more of a part. This guy, as a Fabian Marxist, okay, was literally bowing down to Davos and the beast system. What happens consequently after that? The beast system's representative in the form of Bill Gates comes over, starts rolling out the digital IDs. Oh, here you go. Failure to have one of Bill Gates' digital IDs will exclude you from society. And then here you go, we're going to blot out the sun as well. Oh, and here you go, you can have all of these pharmaceutical companies here. Oh, and here you go, you can also have the World Health Organization's pandemic treaty without so much as a vote or a public consultation. War criminal Tony Blair hails the Fabian that he is also digital ID and AI as tools to arrest criminals before they commit a crime. This whole pre-crime nonsense. Adolf Starmer praises India's Orwellian digital ID system. See how they treat the Indians over there with this. UK government wants digital ID cards for children as young as 13. Oh, but the government has all of that information. The government has all of that access and all of that data. This isn't about protecting a child. A child should be able to have an anonymous name. No one knows its age, its gender, or whatever. Parents should be given the authority and the parental responsibility to have safeguards on their internet searches of their children's phones. If children are going to look at it, they're going to look at it. Same thing with me. When I was growing up, my parents like, nah, you ain't watching that. You ain't watching that. I was like, why can't I watch that? You're telling me that I can't watch Michael Jackson's sort of like Thriller or whatever, the music video? I'm going to go straight to my mate and go and watch that. Kids want to watch it, they'll watch it. My parents were right, man, because it was crap. Bill Gates. Get behind me, Satan, kind of a douchebag. All right, unveils global digital ID will erase non-compliant humans from society. This is it. Bill Gates unveils his global digital ID. It's all really interesting, isn't it? When you get sort of like, you know, what was it? Aaron or whatever it's called, like Blair, is it? Or Ewan Blair? Tony Blair's son connecting to Bill Gates and the sort of like digital ID. You can understand why war criminal daddy wants to promote that, don't you? But here you go. Bill Gates unveils global digital ID. It's not just happening in the UK. We're going to be talking about Canada. We've already been speaking about Australia. We've also been speaking in and around Vietnam as well, but we'll get to that in a moment. Failure to have one of these, you know, IDs will literally exclude you from society, or in this particular article's case, erase non-compliant humans from society. What's going to be happening, guys, if you don't take the mark of the beast, or you don't bow down to it? You're not going to be able to buy. You're not going to be able to sell. What happened in the lockdowns? You're not going to go out unless you've got these vaccine passports. You're not going to be able to go out unless you're able to show, you know, papers, please, you know what I mean, your vaccination status. Please do exclude me from society. In fact, why can't these guys, I'm encouraged that Jeff Bezos is actually sort of like getting down with the sort of like, you know, the space race. Why can't these guys go and colonize some other planet and just be gone, man? Leave us to it. So have to kill us all off. EU declares US citizens who refuse biometric digital ID will be barred from Europe. Well, that's a great way to put everyone on global house arrest, isn't it? Tony Blair lobbied for billionaire backer who could make millions for digital ID. Yeah, it's not a conflict of interest, is it? Here you go. Public backlash explodes in the United Kingdom as millions of citizens reject Bill Gates' digital ID plan. It's the first thing that happened once Starmer was in. This monster, this Joseph Mengele, he is so evil, Bill Gates. In my opinion, he is the most evil man on earth. With what he does to India, what he does to Africa, and then Malaysia and Singapore and the whole sort of like Asia, the east of Asia, and then now forcing his digital ID on the Australians, on us, and now the Canadians, as well as this muppet that they've got in LA. Gavin Newsom, whatever he's called, and he's rolling out the digital IDs, let alone everything that's also going biometric, because you can't do it all at once because it's too obvious. All right, people don't know what Revelation 17:13 says. They are all of one mind, all of one purpose, and they give their power to the beast. But we can't make it too obvious, so we've got to stagger it out. You do this, you do this, you do this, you do that. Literally, are we not seeing this? Starmer faces furious backlash over a digital ID card proposal. And this is the guy who turned around and said, literally first days in office, there are going to be a lot of changes in Britain. If you don't like it, the door's there, leave now. That's what he said. Tony Blair's dream of digital ID becomes a reality. Tony Blair, who called those who refused COVID jabs idiots, says it's time to embrace digital IDs. Wow. Keir Starmer set to announce digital ID cards within days. And this is where it all goes, guys. If you do not comply, let us go by Vietnam's, sort of like example. And this was very cleverly done, wasn't it? We're going to do Vietnam first, and then they ain't going to get down with that. And then we're going to give them this consequence. And then we're going to roll it out on these other nations like Canada, Australia, and then the UK. So in the back of their heads, they're going to be thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't resist this. Vietnam erases 86 million bank accounts of non-compliant citizens who refuse digital ID. Very clever, isn't it? Just like Trumpy boy is doing over in the US when it comes to putting martial, sort of like law and boots on the ground when it comes to all of these sorts of things. You protest too much, there you go. Here's an example. I'll show you how to do it to my own people. I want to be a tyrant. Here you go. The witch that is Ursula von der Leyen. She unveils the new EU censorship push online digital ID plans. Also today coming out, I hope you saw it in the community post, guys, how cash is also miraculously being outlawed and made illegal. Please do see that. And here was the dangling carrot and the lie. Starmer considers digital IDs for everyone to tackle illegal immigration. Really? Digital IDs, says Bill Gates, are an effective tool against poverty. Just see what they come out and say, and then the goalposts just keep changing, and keep changing. Do they not? Mexico, all right? God bless Mexico. Mandates Bill Gates biometric digital ID with iris, thank you, Sam Altman, and fingerprint data for the entire population. Starmer seriously considers introducing digital ID to fix immigration and public services. This was just now we're in August headlines, guys, that I'm looking at right now. Look at how quickly it happens. Oh, we're thinking about it. Now we're going to do it. And then it's going to be for this. And it's going to be for that. But it's really going to be for that. The slow reveal. All right. There's predictive programming. That's one thing. You have got to understand, if you're here on our channel, about the slow reveal, the soft disclosure. And a month before that, in July, British government quietly, see what they're doing in Canada as well? They do it quietly, rolls out digital ID in the UK to purge independent media websites. And in July as well, ministers say digital IDs will help deter migrants from heading to the UK. No, it won't. And then Bill Gates demands digital ID systems of behavior to tackle misinformation. So what is it for? Is it for immigrants, or is it for if you get a new job, or actually you want to get like a rental place, or want to buy a house, or is it to prove my identity if I want to go online? Is it part of the online safety bill? Is it for my banking? Is it for my vaccine status? Is it for my coming? I don't really understand. What lie is it this week that you're going to be feeding us with about all of this? Whistleblowers expose massive security failure in UK's digital ID systems. And this is the hilarity of it. People are surrendering their valuable bits of information, all right? And it's being hacked, it's being cloned. And it'll be done deliberately, just like Microsoft, Bill Gates, when he came up with the Word document. Right, everyone's buying the Word. Right now, I'm going to give them a virus, so they have to buy my antivirus stuff. Same thing what they did with the vaccines. Right, here we go. We'll release all of that. Now you need to have the vaccines. Same thing that's going to be happening with this. Oh, well, here you go. We're going to roll out the digital IDs. Oh, that's not quite, safe and effective as we first thought. It's going to have to go in underneath your skin. Come on. Come on. EU announces an end to online anonymity with the introduction of mandatory digital IDs. I think I don't want to throw up anymore over that guy, man. If I see Tony Blair's face again, I might just want to just introduce my fist to my iPad. All right. And I don't want to do that because I want to use it again. All right. Let's go to the article, shall we? So this is how we do it. We give you an hour's worth of information, guys, and then we hit you with what's really going on with this. All right. Today's article: Canada rolls out mandatory digital IDs for welfare recipients. Canada has announced plans to roll out mandatory, they're loving the choice, digital ID for all welfare recipients in the country, including seniors on old age security. Oh, yeah, well, you've got to have a smartphone, dear. Canada's Department of Employment, in a recent note in Prime Minister Mark Carney's 2025 budget, declared that changes will be made to the Department of Employment and Social Development Act. The goal of the changes, apparently, is to enable the delivery of more integrated and efficient services across government. Oh, well, it's a really great way of saying all of that, isn't it? From, the former Bank of England. Infowars.com reports. These amendments would benefit all Canadians by enabling the development of more efficient and convenient government services, reads the note, adding, modernizing legislative authorities to support information sharing and digital services would particularly benefit groups facing barriers to outdated paper-based processes, particularly seniors. Liars. All of these guys are liars, and this is what I came to yesterday with you guys. I was like, once these guys cross that threshold, okay, of a lie, you can't trust them after that. It's like when if you've ever been cheated on, all right, once a cheater, always a cheater. All right, you can't trust them. They've broken that irreparably. All of these governments, all of these tech giants, all of these sort of like World Health Organizations, WEF, the UN, etc. Every single government politician has lied to you, forced you, coerced you when it came to the vaccine and the lockdowns and everything else. They cannot be trusted in any way, shape, or form, and they're still lying. This is why it takes an angel of the Lord God in Revelation 14, 9 through 11 to fly over the whole earth and say to everybody the consequences of what will happen if you take the mark of the beast and bow down to its image. It's because you can't trust the mainstream media. Well, our award for great journalistic integrity goes to the BBC. And I'm going to throw a grenade back and just say, yeah, and to CNN. This continues. The note did not give specific details of how Canadians' personal information would be misused. Used across government services. However, The recent message comes only a few months after the government hired consultants to investigate a digital ID systems. As reported by LifeSite News, the Canadian government hired outside consultants from Davos, tasked with looking into whether or not officials should proceed no, with creating a digital ID system for all citizens and residents. As per a May 20 Digital Credentials Issues memo, as noted by BlackRock's reporter, hello, the adoption of such a digital ID system may be difficult. We'll just have to stagger it instead. Canada's Department of Employment has said that such a digital ID would not be mandatory. What's the headline of this one read? And would remain voluntary. Nothing in this world is voluntary anymore, and will not replace existing in-person, mail or telephone-based services. However, as late as February, the Liberal government under former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's immigration ministry, as reported by LifeSite News, was secretly asking Canadians via surveys if they would accept a national digital program that would likely end up requiring each citizen to always have a type of digital passports on them. Yeah, they didn't ask the Brits that though, did they? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that? The sort of like graffiti, the profanity. And that's just coming from me. Do you know what I mean? I'll be scribbling on that, man. I'm telling you. And then I'll be saying, I'm really sorry for that, Lord. I know I shouldn't have posted it, but anyway. Come on. Canada's Privy Council research from 2023 noted that there is strong public resistance to the use of digital IDs to access government services, but we're going to do it anyway. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre nonetheless sounded the alarm by promising to introduce a bill that would expressly prohibit digital IDs in Canada. How's that working out for you, mate? Digital IDs and similar systems have long been pushed by globalist groups like the World Demonic Forum, an organization with which Carney has extensive ties, under the guise of ease of access and security. Exactly, they serve the Davos's agenda. They serve the Fabian Marxists, the Club of Rome's, the Club of 300, the Skull and Bones, the Illuminati. They bend over and pucker up to the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and all of those nonsenses. Continuing, critics, however, have warned that the purpose of such a system is actually to centralize control over citizens. This opinion seems to be mirrored by the general public, with a Bank of Canada survey finding that Canadians are wary of a government-backed digital currency, concluding that a significant number of citizens would resist the implementation of such a system. Carney has a history of backing, also, this is where it all goes, baby, backing central bank digital currencies. Why do you think he was put in the office for the first place? This was it. This is going to be his brainchild. This is going to be his moment. And supported in 2023, choking off the money donated to the Freedom Convoy protests against COVID mandates. There you go, guys. I'm going to have that particular article put into the job description there for you guys. Don't worry about it because you can't access it. But I'm going to put it up there just so you know I did my job, and YouTube can't do its. And then there's going to be a supplementary kind of like posts, other things that I've put in and out there for you guys just to supplement, build on, and just to rub in the face of what it is that we've exposed today when we've been looking at Canada rolling out mandatory digital IDs for welfare recipients. So it's how it starts, isn't it? It starts out with, okay, well, this is going to be for immigration, you're going to be for welfare, and you're going to be for age verification, and you're going to be for the, do you know what I mean? The staggering of each person given their particular memos from the beast system in terms of what it is that they've got to roll out and, you know, oppress their citizens with. Thank you guys for the pleasure of your company. Thank you very much indeed, guys, to our team here for their continued support. Hoping, guys, that you've been able to see our read all about it. You can read all about it too, and our extra, where there are 30 All right, there are 30 articles there for you and your attention to start your day off. Have a little flip through, have a little look see, and then in a moment there'll be another 20 sort of like articles and thumbnail prints, whatever, for you pertaining to our dear brothers over in Canada who have literally now going to have to, if they are on welfare benefits, have to have this digital ID. So God bless you guys, and we will touch base again soon.